Chapter 1191. Unexpectedly, he was not angry. KG immediately smacked Han Yisheng onto the ground. It was also because Han Yisheng was indeed too weak. Although all the roles he played were very cold and magnificent, he himself was actually ridiculously weak. He lay on the ground and remained in a daze for a moment. He was hurting all over. However, at the next moment, he saw KG. This little guy was young and energetic, but at the same time, he was not full of vigor. He gave off a strong air of coldness, detachment, and stubbornness. He stood there, towering above and looking down at Han Yisheng. Then, he scoffed with immense disdain. Han Yisheng had been famous for 2 years. He had always been so popular. Of course, he had not been looked down on like this. Anyone who saw him would shout, "Yisheng, Shengsheng, I want to give birth to your children." He could not believe that someone was looking down on him in this manner right now. "How dare you hit me?" Han Yisheng immediately tried to get up, but he did not manage to. He was grimacing in pain as his arm was hurting too much from the fall. He looked at the security guards behind him and started shouting, "Come quick and catch this person." After Han Yisheng shouted, many people rushed here. Lin Che hastily said, "Don't cause a ruckus, don't cause a ruckus. It's all a misunderstanding." Han Yisheng looked at KG. "What misunderstanding? This person hit me." Lin Che spoke up for KG, "I know this person." KG did not let things rest either. Behind her, he said, "I didn't hit anyone." Han Yisheng said, "You hit me." "Even so, I didn't hit anyone," KG said. Was he saying that Han Yisheng was not a person? Han Yisheng immediately looked at Lin Che. "What do you mean? Because he's someone you know, he can simply hit anyone." KG stuffed his hand into his pocket indifferently, completely ignoring him. Lin Che looked at Han Yisheng. Right now, of course, she was going to cover up for KG. "I also believe that KG wouldn't randomly hit someone." "KG, why did you hit him? Tell me the reason." KG said, "He was acting like a pervert just now." Han Yisheng's expression changed completely. Everyone could not help but feel slightly surprised. However, Lin Che understood. She turned her head to look at Han Yisheng. She was reminded of what Yu Minmin had said earlier. Even if he had not done something as serious as trying to molest her, she figured that it was not something good either. Of course, Han Yisheng denied it. "That's impossible. You saw wrong. Nothing like that happened at all. You're making up things." KG scoffed. "You did it, but you don't dare to admit it, right?" Lin Che said, "All right. Han Yisheng, I believe KG. But I don't want to say anything further. Just apologize and leave." Hearing this, Han Yisheng's expression worsened further. She had actually told him to apologize. Putting aside the fact that he was the male lead of this television series, he was also a popular young actor in his prime. "No way. Do you actually believe him? Lin Che, has your brain short-circuited? HMPH. He's with me. Of course, I believe him," Lin Che said. I won't apologize. HMPH. Lin Che, did you invite me here precisely to humiliate me? I'm telling you, that's impossible. How am I humiliating you? Just apologize for this incident and nothing will happen. That's not considered humiliating you at all. You can forget about an apology. What's more, I want him to apologize instead. It was clearly his fault. Han Yisheng could not believe it. Who was this boy? How could Lin Che force him to apologize because of this boy? Lin Che said, "He absolutely won't apologize either." Han Yisheng narrowed his eyes. Fine, fine. If you behave like this, we won't be able to work together. I'll withdraw from the production. I won't stay in a production crew that disrespects me like this." Lin Che said, "Do what you want then. But I will definitely protect my people. Leave on your own if you want to." You. Seeing this, everyone's expressions were slightly unpleasant. Did Lin Che mean what she was saying? Who exactly was this man? Why did she have to make Han Yisheng leave the production because of him? KG remained silent. Someone hastily rushed over to persuade her. "Sister Che, forget it. It's all a misunderstanding." Exactly. At this point in time, think of the big picture. But Lin Che had her own principles too. She looked at everyone. All of you, no need to worry. Just as he said, a production crew is a good production crew only if it respects people. If someone like him stays, I'll think that this production crew is terrible. Thus, I would have let it go if he apologized. I would have accepted it if he could recognize his mistake and change his ways. But he refused to apologize and even threatened to leave the production crew for no reason. In that case, it's better for him to leave. Lin Che looked straight ahead with a steely gaze. She looked as if she had made up her mind, with no measure of uncertainty. Han Yisheng definitely could not have expected that Lin Che would actually ignore him in favor of an ordinary person, to the point that she was willing to let him leave the production. Now that the matter had progressed to this stage, he would definitely be ashamed to continue staying here. In his moment of anger, he walked out. Everyone had disbelieving expressions on their faces. They looked at Lin Che and wondered if she was really planning to ignore Han Yisheng. However, Lin Che said, "All right. That's all." Just then, KG looked at Lin Che and said directly, "I'm sorry. If this happened because of me, I'm sorry." Lin Che hastily said, "Of course not, KG. How could it be your fault?" But KG simply said, "I guess well, this is for you." Lin Che had a bewildered expression on her face as she watched KG take out something from behind him. A box of roses. What the hell, what were these? Paper roses. Lin Che said, "You." KG merely stared at her for some time before placing the box in front of her. Then, he left directly. Naturally, the eagle-eyed people around her immediately saw what this was. Good lord, is that person courting Lin Che? Sister Che was shielding him. Could he be her boyfriend? He's not in the industry. Precisely, but he looked so young. A relationship between an older woman and a younger man. But he was quite handsome. Although he wasn't particularly outstanding, he looked very elegant. Lin Che ignored them and merely looked down at the box of roses. No way, what did he mean by this? Lin Che dared not keep the roses and simply left them in the company. However, this incident was nevertheless relayed to Gu Jingze in no time. Sir, we just received news that Madam received a box of roses today. Gu Jingze raised his head. Who gave them to her? That hacker called KG. Gu Jingze narrowed his eyes and said coolly, "All right. I understand. Then, now. It's all right. It was just because the young man didn't know. That's enough. You may go." Seeing the situation, Qin Hao even thought to himself that President Gu had become much more magnanimous recently. This did not even make him angry. He was so forgiving. The door closed. Gu Jingze looked straight ahead. Then, he picked up his phone and called Lin Che. "What are you up to?" Lin Che said, "I was just about to go back. You?" "Oh, I'll pick you up." "Sure, I'm at the company's entrance. Wait for me." He hung up the phone right after telling her to wait. Lin Che stood at the entrance and waited. After a long time, she still did not see him. At this moment, she saw Dongzi approach her, saying, "Miss, sir just called me earlier. He told us to drive you somewhere first." What? Where were they going? It was all so mysterious. Chapter 1192 You, remaking me want to do something criminal. After driving to the location, they were walking to the side when they saw a helicopter fly downwards in the sky. The helicopter descended while Lin Che was still in a daze. With an immense downwash from the plane, it landed directly on the grass field. Lin Che blinked only to see that Dongzi and the others had quietly left. Meanwhile, the helicopter had stopped. The pilot was dressed in a beautiful blue uniform with a helmet on his head. The large goggles covered half of his face. The black sunglasses made his well-structured face seem even more defined and handsome. Good lord, who was this? Wasn't this Gu Jingze? Lin Che looked at him in surprise. She covered her mouth and cried out in alarm, "Gu Jingze." Gu Jingze was tall to begin with. Now that he was wearing a uniform with a belt, it immediately drew in his upper body. His lower body looked stately and his legs looked extremely long and slender. His legs started from right below his neck. Gu Jingze's lips turned up in a smile. He immediately took off his helmet first. Then, he flung his head backward in a dashing manner and said to her, "Let's go. I'll take you to have fun." Lin Che said, "You bringing me somewhere with this?" "Of course." But, Lin Che looked at the massive helicopter in surprise. "I didn't know you could fly a helicopter. I've had my license for 12 years. His flying license?" Lin Che was really unaware of this. She had not seen him fly a helicopter before. He cocked his head to the side. "Don't you want to go up there and look around?" How could she even think of rejecting him, with his sensual and attractive pose? Lin Che immediately ran towards him with a spring in her step. Sure, you fly the helicopter, hee. I've never seen you fly it." Gu Jingze smiled faintly. He had already turned around and gotten into the helicopter. Afterward, he pulled her up into the helicopter. She immediately jumped into the co-pilot seat. Gu Jingze turned his head and put a helmet on her head. He also carefully fastened her seatbelt for her. After doing a final check, he looked at her, smiled, and said, "Don't be afraid later. We're not flying high." I'm not afraid." Lin Che looked at Gu Jingze. Although she had never seen him fly a plane, she believed that he was definitely very good at everything. But he knew how to do way too many things. She could not help but feel genuinely amazed. Lin Che felt as if he could surprise her whenever he wanted. She was never able to foresee his next actions. Gu Jingze said, "All right. We'll take off, then." The plane took off, accompanied by a rumbling sound. The sound was very loud, so he communicated with her and spoke to her through the headset inside the helmet. He looked in front. The helicopter rose straight into the air and flew past the village in front. Lin Che felt anxious and excited. She suddenly cried out, "Wow!" Now that they were flying, she turned sideways to look at Gu Jingze. His gloves were on the controls in front of him. Lin Che did not understand the complicated buttons but saw that he had an extremely confident expression on his face. He seemed to be filled with conviction as if he was fully confident in anything he did. Even if he was flying a helicopter, they seemed to be moving on level ground. It felt no different than driving on level ground. His side profile looked very, very good. She was intoxicated from looking at him, especially now that he looked so serious. His narrowed eyes looked particularly deep under his sunglasses. Lin Che was captivated just by looking at him. At this moment, she saw that the helicopter had landed on top of a mountain. Among the facilities here, there was a landing area. After landing directly, he parked the helicopter properly. Surprised, Lin Che asked, "Why do they have this here?" Gu Jingze said, "They built many areas for helicopters to land here. It was a simple process anyway. It was enough to build the most basic landing pads." "I guess do many people fly helicopters?" "No, this place is used by the Gu family for helicopter transportation." Oh, I see." He jumped off the helicopter. With Lin Che in tow, he looked below the top of the mountain. It was probably not far away from B City, but they could no longer see the skyscrapers over there. They could only see the shroud of fog in the distance. The sun was just about to set. The outline of the mountain had a vibrant tinge to it. It looked so pretty. Lin Che said, "Wow. This place is so beautiful." Gu Jingze looked at her and smiled. After, Lin Che looked at Gu Jingze. "Dressed like this you look very good too. Hee." "Really?" Gu Jingze asked. Lin Che said, "Of course. You were tall to begin with. What's more, you look handsome, flying a plane." Gu Jingze held her hands. After looking at them briefly, he pulled her back in. "In that case, do you want to learn?" Gu Jingze asked. I definitely won't be able to learn," Lin Che said. Gu Jingze said, "Of course not. Come, give it a try." After being pulled over, Lin Che looked at the elaborate equipment. For some reason, she kept feeling that she probably would not know how to do this. Gu Jingze smiled and sat her down. He said, "Press this first. Then press that." Lin Che was listening attentively when she felt Gu Jingze's arms wrap around her from behind. She also felt his breath come up gently from behind her. Calmly, he said to her, "Pull this again. Pull it upwards and you'll take off." Lin Che immediately froze. She felt his clothes rub against her ear. His voice seemed to be blessed by heaven. It lingered about her ears and made her blush. The friction caused her heart and mind to run wild. She could no longer remember what he had been saying earlier. The only thing on her mind was that he was hugging her from behind, his coarse hands holding hers as he taught her step by step how to operate the helicopter. Slowly, he leaned in even closer. While she was still staring ahead with her eyes wide, his eyes had already moved in front of her. He looked at her. Then, he said, like this. She said in a daze, you. Gu Jingze asked, why are you blushing? How could she not blush? Seeing that he was so close to her, his eyes seemingly seducing her, she lost her power of judgment. The moment she moved, he trapped her body completely. He said, don't move around randomly. Lin Che raked her eyes over him. Right now, she had a strong urge to do something. Strip him naked, strip him naked. Such nice-looking clothes were precisely meant to be removed. She said, Gu Jingze, I think. You think what? Gu Jingze's voice was gentle. Lin Che had subconsciously put her arms around him. I think it's a bit hot, don't you think? Is it? His eyes were still fixed on her. She asked, what material is your outfit made of? Don't you feel hot? Do I? He continued to look down at her hands. Leaning down, he moved slightly closer to her and said gently into her ear, if it's hot, move any more and it'll get even hotter. Good gracious. Lin Che was about to shout. By speaking in this manner now, this man was making her feel an even stronger urge to do something criminal. But here. Lin Che looked around. Surrounded by mountains, there was definitely going to be no one around. But even so, she still felt shy. However, there was no way Gu Jingze would give her a chance to feel shy. Chapter 1193. She was criticized for being arrogant. Just when she was about to move, he had already pulled her into his embrace. Lin Che could no longer control herself either. By now, her hands had slipped under his clothes and were tearing at them. As for Gu Jingze, he wasted no time at all and immediately pushed her against the chair. Oh no, the helicopter jolted. She had never tried it before. But the way he was dressed genuinely made her want to strip him naked. When the dust had settled completely, Gu Jingze gently covered her with her clothes. The sun had already set. Around them, the sky was a dusky color. Gu Jingze asked, can you still get up? Lin Che let out two sounds of affirmation. She felt as if her body was going to fall apart. She had been too excited earlier. During that time, Gu Jingze, following suit, also became extremely forceful. She thought it was fortunate that Gu Jingze was quite busy and did not often want to do it. Otherwise, if he appeared so sensual all the time, she would really be very prone to overindulgence. It was not good for her body. Gu Jingze stroked her hair and looked at her. Were you happy today? I'm happy. Of course, she was happy. They were flying in a helicopter. How fun was that? Gu Jingze continued to say, is it much better than folded paper roses? How did he know about the folded paper roses? He was just giving me something. Gu Jingze looked at her with narrowed eyes. Roses are definitely not something that people would ordinarily give. Lin Che pulled a long face. So, what had this been? A punishment or jealousy? She said, I absolutely won't accept them next time. She looked at him. So, were you punishing me earlier? No, was that a punishment? Fine, it seemed that she could not call it a punishment. He said, what happened earlier was a warning. Right now, this is the real punishment. What? Immediately, Gu Jingze immediately flipped himself onto her again. Upon being pressed so firmly, Lin Che cried out, no. If we keep playing around, the sky is getting dark. This time, she was really going to indulge excessively. But he was not differentiating clearly between a reward and a punishment by giving her a punishment like this. What was the difference between this and the warning he had given her earlier? Both made her feel very comfortable. After going back that night, Lin Che hastily told Yu Minmin to destroy the roses. Otherwise, Gu Jingze really would kill her if he saw it. Yu Minmin even mocked her over the phone. Stupid, but you deserve it anyway. It's your fault for being so likable. Lin Che said, I didn't do anything at all. Yu Minmin said, alright. I got it, I'll help you settle it. But that Xingyao company called me to ask what exactly was going on. Lin Che said, what could possibly be going on? I won't ask my staff to go and apologize to them for this. Yu Minmin said, I know. But this Han Yisheng will definitely kick up a fuss. Take note of it. I know. Regarding the candidate for the male lead, you have to look around again. I reckon he won't come back again. We won't want him even if he does. I won't feel at ease either, having someone like him in the production crew flirting with and harassing others for no reason. Lin Che said, precisely. Most importantly, he likes to create trouble. That's the bad thing. A production crew has to work together for so many months. He can't cause too much trouble. Yu Minmin said, you're right. Anyway, forget about those who aren't in step with us. I've already selected a few candidates and sent their details to you. Take a look. Lin Che sat on the couch and started scrolling down and looking at the candidates for the male lead. She read the details while eating and browsing the web page. However, she immediately noticed that there was a topic trending online. Han Yisheng had withdrawn from the production, stating that he had been disrespected. It turned out that Han Yisheng had posted something on Weibo, stating that he had already withdrawn from Radiance. In his post, he did not describe the details of what had happened either. He merely said, I know that Lin Che's production previously achieved success and pushed out a new form of television. On top of that, at a time when the domestically produced series aren't doing that well and the quality of the productions are generally not that good, a production that is so will strike everyone as being amazing. Everyone will think that she has put an effort into this production. Thus, when news of this television series first came out, countless people got in through the back door, simply wanting to get 1 or 2 roles in the series. I'm an ordinary person who wants a good role too. I want to be well liked and popular, so I tried out for a role. I was very glad that I was selected and I thought that it was because I was capable enough. But I only found out that this was not the case after I entered the production crew. Forgive me for having a mind of my own. Although you're a famous celebrity and producer, I have my own views too. I don't want to yield just for fame. Goodbye, you can get someone else. Naturally, these words immediately made people's minds go wild with thoughts. What did he mean by this? Was he saying that after producing a popular drama, Lin Che was throwing her weight around now and starting to ignore people? And he was even putting her down a little as if saying that the series was popular partly because of the timing when in reality, it was not necessarily the best. Now, because he refused to yield to her, he had decided not to act in it. But he did not say that he had only left after being beaten on set because he had asked Lin Che out. Lin Che was so angry that she immediately called Yu Minmin. Fuck, what's up with this Han Yisheng? When did I ever disrespect him? Yu Minmin said, of course he dares to say that. Even if we say that it's because he flew into a rage out of humiliation from being rejected by you, we don't have proof either. I want to ask him personally. Should we just confront him and ask what happened exactly? What about the surveillance camera? We must have surveillance cameras. What did he do at the time? He probably wanted to touch your back then. But the main thing is that the span of time was too short. He had yet to touch you when that young lad noticed him and kicked him. What's more, his back was facing the camera, so it didn't capture his face. Otherwise, if we could have captured and shown everyone his perverted expression, then people will believe us. Lin Che pursed her lips. She felt very indignant at being criticized like this. It would not matter if he criticized her for other things. But saying that her television series was subpar. Fine, it was true that there were aspects of it that were still lacking. But regardless, they had definitely put in a lot of effort into producing it. How could he say something like that? However, meanwhile, online, many people could hardly sit still after seeing what Han Yisheng had posted. Yisheng was right to do that. Before you're a celebrity, you're a person first and foremost. Since they were so disrespectful towards you, we will not act in their series. Lin Che, don't know her. That television series takes the credit for its own success. She just contributed funding. What does it have to do with her? She was just lucky to succeed with one television series but became so arrogant. In the future, I'll boycott all productions from their company. Of course, while there were criticisms, there were also people who were skeptical. Lin Che has quite a good personality. Han Yisheng has no proof to back his words up. I think that a person who can produce such a great television series probably can't be that bad. How could she be arrogant? The celebrities from their company are all pretty nice people. None of them throw their weight around. Chapter 1194. I'll see what you can do about this now. However, in no time, someone said directly, after all, Han Yisheng isn't a celebrity from their company. Many of the people who acted in her previous television series were people from her own company. I don't know why she didn't choose any of them this time. But the male lead must have been ostracized because he isn't from her own company. I think Han Yisheng was probably ostracized. Upon seeing this comment, everyone immediately bumped up this post. Among the celebrities from their company, none of them except Shui Yang can play the role of the male lead. It's either because they're not famous enough or because they have other contracts on hand. Are they pressuring Han Yisheng because they now want his popularity but aren't happy about it either? That would be completely inexcusable. Precisely. We support Han Yisheng. Is Lin Che about to become a malignant tumor in the entertainment industry? Let's not be the main lead of their production anymore. I'll see who else can act this role now. Han Yisheng is so handsome. Why do they have to ostracize him? I won't watch it if Han Yisheng isn't in it. I think he's the most suitable person to play this role. I want to see who their company will ultimately choose. They won't let another one of their company's celebrities be the male lead, right? I wouldn't want to watch it then. As these topics started festering, they triggered countless speculations. Lin Che scoffed as she read them. Then, she saw her phone start to ring. Unexpectedly, it was a call from Han Yisheng. Lin Che smiled. What was he trying to do by calling her right now? Hello. Lin Che, my company made me upload that Weibo post today. I wasn't trying to do anything, he said. Lin Che continued smiling and kept her voice calm. Even she herself was in awe of her own acting skills right now. She was seriously impressive at dealing with all kinds of people. It's fine, you've already posted it. Han Yisheng said, if you haven't found a male lead yet, we can still continue working together in private. I'll inform my company. And then, we're going to pretend that the previous incident didn't happen at all, right? That's right. To begin with, it was because my company had been a bit too extreme. But there was nothing I could do about it. Lin Che thought, was it because his company had been too extreme? Wasn't it because he himself did not actually want to give up on this production? He simply wanted to give Lin Che and her staff a small warning. Then, he would seize the opportunity now to propose that he return, continue acting the role, and then say something about patching up. They would let bygones be bygones, right? Subsequently, everyone would have to keep in mind that he was the one who had kept the peace. Only then would harmony be maintained in the production crew, and only then can they continue filming the television series. Thus, they had to treat him as their benefactor, right? Well then, sorry, it had genuinely never occurred to her to let him return. Oh, why didn't you tell me earlier? I thought you left out of anger, so. No, won't everything be fine once I go back? But, I've already agreed for someone else to be the male lead. Han Yisheng immediately got a bit angry. You're being. Lin Che continued posturing. You have to tell me earlier next time. The actor is already going to join us. It won't be easy for me to reject him anymore. Han Yisheng truly felt that he had been duped. Fine, Lin Che, you're doing this on purpose, right? You've got a male lead. I don't believe you. Who is it? Tell us and let us see. Lin Che chuckled. It's a secret. Guess on your own. Han Yisheng said, I'm actually looking forward to it. He really did not believe it. On the contrary, he felt that she definitely had not found anyone. Lin Che was definitely puffing herself up at her own cost. In that case, it was up to her. Anyway, he had already said both nice and unpleasant words. Since she was not paying him any regard now, then they could do whatever they wanted. Lin Che hung up the phone. She was so angry that she scoffed. He still wanted to come back. What did he take her production for? Since she had already told him so, he could go wherever he wanted to. But indeed, she did not have a candidate for male lead yet. She had been browsing for a long time but did not think that any of them were suitable. More importantly, the person she selected for male lead absolutely could not have an image worse than Han Yisheng's. The first impression that the audience had was the strongest, and that strongest impression was of Han Yisheng. If they chose someone who paled in comparison to him, people would definitely criticize them. As a result, their choices were much more narrow. His image had to be suitable and could not be worse than Han Yisheng's. He even had to be of relatively similar popularity. She searched for a long time but gave up in the end. She would think about it tomorrow. However, the next day onwards, Xingyao began to add insult to injury. Since Lin Che had already said that she would not change her mind, they were thinking only of using his withdrawal this time to hype him up. They could tread all over Lin Che and use her as leverage to increase Han Yisheng's popularity. When Han Yisheng appeared at an event, he did not hesitate to make insinuations. He told the media, "Everyone says that the waters in our industry are very deep. I've always felt that this shouldn't be the case. But this time, it was truly my very first time encountering such an incident." The reporters asked for details. What exactly did they do on set? Han Yisheng simply showed them a troubled expression. "Well, although I've already left the production, I still have to keep things confidential." "You're still keeping things confidential even though you've left? You have such professional integrity." "Yes. A person must abide by his principles," he said. One of the reporters asked, "In that case, why don't you disclose some details to us? We won't report it, just give us a bit of a hint." After looking completely troubled, Han Yisheng finally said, "All right. To be honest, I'm not sure about other things. But it had something to do with a boy. I saw a boy give Lin Che a present. After that, she said I had to apologize." Hearing this, the reporters went into even more of a frenzy. What the hell? This was a huge piece of news. What boy? How old was this boy? Was Lin Che in a relationship with a younger man? Who was that boy? What present did he give her? Well, I won't say any more, haha. While watching the news, Lin Che genuinely could not believe what she was seeing. What had happened to his supposed principles? He had said it just like that. What principles? Were those for show? KG and the others had noticed this piece of news. The moment Crooked Neck saw this, he immediately said, "Good gracious. KG, you're on the news." KG let out a sound of affirmation. Crooked Neck said, "Someone revealed that there is something going on between you and Sister Che. Quick, come see." Only then did KG look in his direction. Upon seeing what was being shown on the news, his first reaction was to frown. Crooked Neck was still smiling. "Hee, even though there was no mention of your name, you're the very first person among us to get onto the entertainment news. Puffed, not bad. Your future is going to be great." However, when Crooked Neck finished speaking, KG immediately stood up without a sound. "Hey, KG, where are you going?" Lin Che was still feeling vexed on set. When KG unexpectedly called her, she quickly answered the call, thinking that KG had probably seen the news. KG said, "I'm sorry for what happened this time." He did not think that the matter would blow up to this extent. Lin Che asked, "Why are you apologizing to me? You didn't do anything wrong. You were helping me out. It's because some things are a bit complicated in this industry." Chapter 1195. Provoking anyone else would they been better than provoking him. KG still felt that it had something to do with him. "I was slightly too impulsive." KG was still a university student after all. He did not usually interact with people either. Thus, he was more prone to rashness when he saw instances of injustice. Such rashness was born out of a simple wish to do something when one had yet to smooth out the edges. In the future, once they had experienced more of society and understood that violence could not resolve problems, they would all become smooth people without edges. Lin Che was still very appreciative of these edges KG had. Lin Che said, "All right. I will settle this matter. You don't have to worry about it. That person is called Han Yisheng, right?" he asked. Lin Che said, yes. Alright, I understand. What are you going to do? Don't bother about this anymore. It's fine. She did not want KG to continue letting his emotions affect his decisions. However, KG had already hung up the phone. Lin Che felt that something was a bit off. She quickly gave Crooked Neck a call. Is KG in the dorm? She asked. Crooked Neck said, no. He just went out hugging his computer. He hasn't come back. Lin Che frowned. Crooked Neck asked, what's wrong? Sister Che, did something happen? No, I'm just worried that he's going to cause trouble for Han Yisheng. He wouldn't. Why don't I go and look around for him? Sure, I'll get someone to check if anything happened on Han Yisheng's end. On the other end. Indeed, Han Yisheng immediately received a call from KG. Han Yisheng held his phone up. It was an unfamiliar number. He was a little confused when he answered the call. Hey. KG's voice then came out of the phone. Han Yisheng, come at me if you have any issues. You didn't have to bring Lin Che into this. You're the brat I saw that day. That's right, it's me. HMPH, you still have the nerve to come looking for me. Who are you? What do you do? I'm KG, he said. What's that? I've never even heard of that name. Are you in the industry? You're a newbie, right? Isn't this the name of some group? I can't believe this. I'm telling you, don't think that you can become famous in the future by depending on Lin Che's influence. Just look at Lin Che. In the industry, she doesn't dare to be reckless either. Otherwise, it will be difficult for her to move forward too. And you even dared to hit me. KG was still quietly listening to him. Han Yisheng cursed at him, I have nothing to say to a nobody like you. HMPH, forget about harassing me again. How did you get my number? Did Lin Che give it to you? Tell her that it's useless no matter who she sends looking for me. We'll see each other in the news. He hung up the phone when he finished speaking. Han Yisheng scoffed after hanging up. He thought to himself, who the hell did he think he was, wanting to apologize only now? On the other end, KG looked at his phone and quietly put it down. Afterward, he took out his laptop, opened it, and quickly said, everyone who is not asleep yet, do me a favor. He had said this in a group chat. The name of this group chat was Pigeon. The word pigeon was a noun. Others may not know what it meant, but everyone in their circle knew. Pigeons were hackers. The term hacker came from the English term grey pigeon. Grey pigeons were the people who gained unauthorized access to other people's websites. Thus, their group name was Pigeon. The people in the group were the top hackers in the entire country. And KG was one of them. In the chat, people started responding in no time. KG said, there's this person whose name is Han Yisheng. The next day. The weather was balmy and the sun was shining brightly. It looked like an ordinary morning. However, Yu Minmin called Lin Che early in the morning while she was eating breakfast. Lin Che, we have a situation. Something happened. What happened? Lin Che got anxious for a moment. Nothing good had been happening recently. She was still feeling vexed over it. Yu Minmin hastily said, no, nothing bad happened. Something bad happened to someone else. Quick, go online, and see. Search for Han Yisheng's website. Lin Che was confused. She grabbed her tablet computer and opened the search engine. The moment she opened Han Yisheng's website. What the hell? What was this? The entire website was filled with various photos. There were photos of Han Yisheng's chat messages. Han Yisheng's private photos. Several intimate photos of Han Yisheng. For instance, of him on the bed. Naked. Slightly exposed. Having sex with someone else. The girl was censored very well, whereas Han Yisheng was completely exposed. What happened here? Lin Che asked. Yu Minmin said, I don't know who hacked Han Yisheng's website. It wasn't just his website. Anything to do with Han Yisheng, his Weibo account, WeChat account, and several other social media accounts were hacked too. These chat logs and all were released. Were these also leaked from his phone due to hacking? Yes. Both his phone and his computer were hacked. The chat messages of him deceiving girls, having multiple girlfriends at a time, hooking up, cheating his fans into one-night stands, and even secretly taking photos of people during sex and sending them to his colleagues. Everything was downloaded. Everyone thinks he's a complete scumbag now. Fuck, what an explosive piece of news. They also released chat logs of him cursing you while chatting with other people. Furthermore, the more sensational piece of news is that he slept with a few high-level executives of companies to snag advertisement deals. Puff. Haha, serves him right for throwing shade on you previously. Lin Che was slightly confused at the moment. What exactly was going on? Who had done this? Hacking someone's computer. At this moment, Lin Che suddenly thought of someone. She immediately picked her phone up and called Crooked Neck. Sister Che. Crooked Neck, where is KG? He's been out since yesterday. Yesterday, those things about Han Yisheng, he can't have hacked his computer and released those things, right? Ah, that's possible, Crooked Neck said. Huh, why are you saying that it's possible? Lin Che said. He said, because KG is not just a simple university student. He started being a hacker when he was 12. He has been a hacker for so many years now. His technique has been honed to perfection long ago. He's a well-known hacker in the country, you know. They have a circle known as Grey Pigeon. Even in their circle, Kilogram's the boss. Among the top hackers in the country, KG is famous. Everyone has a lot of respect for him. That's why everyone responds to whatever he says. If he wants to hack someone, he can definitely hack the person in no time, to the point where even his mother doesn't know him. He can dig out all the secrets hidden in nooks and crannies. Lin Che herself did not know that KG was actually so famous. In that case, he must have done all this. He even called me yesterday. Crooked Neck said, serves him right. It's all because that Han Yisheng insisted on provoking KG instead of anyone else. When KG gets angry, no one can stop him, you know. In her heart, Lin Che also lit 2 candles for Han Yisheng. Good luck to you. Unfortunately, it seems that your luck will probably be bad for the time being. Chapter 1196. The male lead is here. Han Yisheng's management released a wire copy stating that Han Yisheng's Weibo and WeChat accounts had been stolen and that his fan forum had been hacked, which were the reasons for these false reports. However, the netizens online were not idiots either. There were several things that could be fabricated, but there were others that could not be fabricated. It was not possible to make fake video recordings or fake voice recordings either. These video recordings and voice recordings were all in the chat logs and were particularly well documented. I didn't expect Han Yisheng to be such a jerk. Hooking up for one-night stands is fine. But deceiving people into it isn't right. He's obviously just lying to his fans. He told his fans that he was dating them when, in reality, he was cheating on them with so many other people. Precisely. And he even sent photos of the girls to people. If you hooked up with someone, you have to respect their privacy. He sent the photos to other people to boast and not just for his own collection. We don't even know if he took the photos with or without the girl's permission. Exactly. He's such a scumbag. Even though we're a free society now, he should still respect women. Public condemnation of him did not stop. Although the web forums and his fan sites had already deleted these things, the criticism would probably continue for a long time. Initially, Han Yisheng was even swearing in the office. Lin Che must have gotten someone to do this. The company staff was very gloomy as well. For no reason, he was cursed out to this extent. They had worked overtime throughout the night but still did not know what to do now. How should they respond? Apart from stating that they were going to look to the law for recourse, they had no other way of responding. But the crucial thing was that they could not admit to it. The moment they admitted to something like this, it would be difficult to clear his name in the future. On the contrary, if they simply pretended that nothing had happened and continued to do whatever they were supposed to, there was still a possibility of clearing his name later. Thus, they had no choice but to wait quietly without furnishing a further reply. To think Han Yisheng still had the nerve to criticize someone else. If not for his own bad behavior and his despicable actions in private, no one would have a hold over him. He was still unmarried and did not have a steady girlfriend, either. If he had not gone overboard, it would actually have been fine for him to have a sex life. But look at what had happened now. Han Yisheng had been utterly humiliated by these events. A few of the women who had been deceived by him all this while had discovered the truth and were creating trouble for him at the moment. He was truly at the bottom of fortune's wheel right now, so of course, he felt even more indignant. He came to the company this time with the intention of getting the company to create trouble for Lin Che. However, at this moment, his phone rang again. He swiped his screen only to see that it was the same number as yesterday. He immediately held his phone up. "Hey, you still have the cheek to call. You. Did you see the news today?" KG said coldly over the phone. Han Yisheng shouted, Were you the one who did it? Great, so you were actually the one who did it, right? That's right, I did it. What's more, you should know clearly what's on your computer. If you don't want more sensational information being released for everyone's enjoyment, I hope you can shut your mouth and apologize to Lin Che. Yoo-ha, where did Lin Che find a gigolo like you? It seems to me that you haven't learned your lesson yet, right? Seeing that Han Yisheng was shouting in an extremely angry manner here, the company employees hastily asked, "Who is that? Who exactly is that?" Han Yisheng was so angry that his face was flushed. "I don't know if he's one of the newbies from Lin Che's company. I think he said that his name is KG. I don't know if it's a young band or group or something like that." "What group is that? Let me look it up." Initially, the company employees had genuinely thought that this person was some artist under Lin Che's management. However, upon looking it up, they discovered that this person was actually a famous hacker. You provoked the wrong person. This person is a renowned hacker. No wonder he had no problems accessing your information. Forget about things on your end. They even dug through our company. Our IT department has already told us that someone browsed our company's network and accounts. Good lord, you'll be the death of me. How did you provoke these people? How did Han Yisheng know? What, hacker? I didn't. He's Lin Che's acquaintance. I thought he was. Enough. You should stop thinking. What did you think? We shouldn't say anything more about this incident. We don't even know what blackmail material they saw after gaining unauthorized access. It definitely won't be good to provoke them. We should let it go. Han Yisheng genuinely wanted to cry. There was no way he could have known that Lin Che had an expert like him by her side. Han Yisheng did not release anything else afterward. While he was still busy dealing with these things, Lin Che used this time to choose an actor. However, after this incident, there were actually many people who deliberately did not want their company's artistes to participate. Because they had heard that Lin Che had not chosen a male lead and that there was no suitable candidate for a male lead, everyone was also wondering what she was going to do this time. Lin Che was a little anxious too, but she really could not find a suitable person either. But they had already chosen a date to commence filming. Thus, the press conference was still going to proceed as per normal. However, a press conference without a male lead was ultimately a bit worrisome. Backstage, Yu Minmin saw that preparations on stage were ready and said to Lin Che, "They will definitely ask about this later. Just say exactly what we agreed on." If the reporters asked, they would just say that they were still keeping things confidential. There was no way around this, either. It was all because they had pretty high expectations for the male lead. It was not appropriate for them to pick one randomly. Lin Che nodded and looked at the reporters outside. All of them were still standing there looking excited and eager to jump into action, wanting to elicit some information. Lin Che breathed in deeply and started walking out. The flashing lights focused. Directing them towards Lin Che, everyone asked, "Lin Che, where is the male lead?" "Lin Che, there are so many actors here today. Who is the male lead?" "Lin Che, after Han Yisheng withdrew, do you have a new candidate for male lead?" Lin Che smiled and looked at everyone. "You guys can guess. We're still keeping it confidential at this stage. All of you will know in the future." The reporters looked at her, thinking to themselves that she could not hide this anyway. So many people knew that they had not decided on a male lead. On top of that, after Han Yisheng had been sabotaged, he continued spreading rumors in the industry, telling everyone to join hands and show Lin Che who was boss so that she would not continue being so arrogant. Everyone also felt that Lin Che's studio was doing better and better, and would suppress all of their companies very soon. It was indeed time to give her a bit of a warning, so all of them were waiting together to watch her get humiliated. Since Lin Che said that they were keeping it confidential now, everyone naturally continued to ask her, "Lin Che, are you really keeping it confidential? Why is everyone saying that you can't find anyone at the moment? Can Radiance still commence filming as scheduled?" Lin Che smiled. "Of course, we can abide by the schedule." "Then, who exactly is the male lead?" Lin Che looked at these people with narrowed eyes. Great, so they wanted to hit her when she was down and add insult to injury. However, at this exact moment, the male lead is here. A male voice that sounded familiar suddenly drifted here. The person was Chapter 1197. To think he had made a comeback. Gu Jingze. The person taking large strides towards them was none other than Gu Jingze, who had gone abroad to study for 2 years. He was dressed in a trench coat. The gray part of the coat at the bottom swayed with the wind as he walked. Initially, the crowd did not even recognize him. Because it had truly been a long time since Gu Jingze had appeared, many people had already forgotten that this person was still in the entertainment industry. Indeed, what Han Yisheng, what Linda, what Guo Kechen? Could these current Prince Charmings still call themselves that in front of Gu Jingze? They were merely pretty boys. They were no match at all for an A-list celebrity like Gu Jingze. Gu Jingze's facial expression was still as cold as ever. Gazing inside at Lin Che, who had looked up in astonishment at him, he smiled ever so slightly. The upturned corners of his lips had an immense charm to them. In no time, the reporters around him all began to gasp in admiration. Good gracious! Although the entertainment industry was filled with countless handsome men, there truly weren't many faces that could stir people up whenever they saw them. Not only were there not many such faces, but you could also even say that there were very few. His face instantly roused everyone. It was after a long time that they realized that Gu Jingze was back. Immediately, the reporters all gathered around him. Gu Jingze, you're finally back. Gu Jingze, are you planning to make a comeback to the entertainment industry now? Where have you been for the past 2 years? Is there anything you want to say to your fans? What plans do you have now? The security guards at the venue were almost unable to control the sudden situation. Sensing the situation, the Gu family's own bodyguards had to rush forward to block off the ferocious reporters. But these reporters were not to be blamed for being difficult to deal with. It was simply because they had not seen such sensational news for a long time. However, Gu Jingze ignored these people. He first looked at Lin Che and walked over to her. Lin Che gazed at him with surprise. She pulled his arm, genuinely wanting to see if this person was real. Sure enough, it was him in the flesh. He was warm too. Gu Jingze, you. Lin Che wanted to ask what he was here for. However, the corners of Gu Jingze's mouth turned up first as he looked at her calmly. Why, I want to come back and act now, but I have no projects. Aren't you going to hire me? Lin Che's heart jolted. Are you really going to act in this? Gu Jingze raised his eyebrows. Do you want me to? Of course, she did. His image was already so suitable, to begin with. There was a mix of hardness and softness. His gaze was piercing and his appearance was particularly distinctive. Furthermore, he was definitely unparalleled in popularity and his acting skills spoke for themselves. On top of that, the two of them had collaborated numerous times. Their chemistry was also plain to see. Lin Che quickly nodded. You said it. You can't go back on your word. He had not even seen the script before. He absolutely could not refuse to film later on. Gu Jingze said, of course. A man keeps his word. I'll act since I've said so. What's there to regret? I'm going for fitting later. Lin Che was extremely happy at the situation and immediately started flattering him. Hee. Do you even need to go for a fitting? Any outfit will definitely do for you. Gu Jingze said, hey. You're really different now. In the past, your flattery would simply have had the opposite effect and made people even angrier upon hearing it. You've improved now. Really? You know just what to say now. Hee. Looking at the reporters down below, Lin Che's expression changed swiftly as well. Her expression had been completely sheepish earlier, but now, she smiled and said, "You guys are too much. We intended to surprise everyone today, but we didn't expect you guys to be so anxious. Alright, since everyone is present now, we can start things off." From the outset, the main members of the production team were supposed to meet everyone at the press conference. All the reporters were completely attracted to Gu Jingze. Their questions were all directed to Gu Jingze. However, Gu Jingze merely smiled and said bluntly, "My apologies. I'm back simply because I'm back. I'm planning to meet everyone through my works. There's nothing else I really have to say." After that, he arrogantly rejected all questions. Lin Che could only smile dryly and proceed to say, "Yes, we hope that everyone's attention can be focused more on our productions. As for other matters, we'll release the final fitting photos later. We will also send a wire copy to everyone. No worries, alright." Alright, since there was a wire copy, they were not going to compete with each other to ask questions. Anyway, it was true that Gu Jingze did not like giving interviews. He had been this way in the past. On this day, from the moment Gu Jingze appeared, all the media outlets and entertainment news were immediately flooded with Gu Jingze. Everyone had again seen for themselves how much influence Gu Jingze had. Back then, he had left without a sound, and now, he had returned like a strong wind scattering the clouds. Gu Jingze was truly willful to the extreme. However, it was precisely his willfulness that strengthened everyone's impression of him. Media outlets reported that Gu Jingze had made a comeback and was going to join Lin Yu's new series, Radiance. At the press conference, the two of them joined hands once again. In the future, Radiance was truly going to be brilliant beyond compare. The people who had initially wanted to see which other celebrity Lin Che could choose to act in this production immediately regretted their past actions. They had thought that she genuinely would not be able to find anyone to act and would end up begging them. But now, how had she managed to invite Gu Jingze when he was in a semi-retirement mode? This was such explosive news. Han Yisheng's management also softened its position instantly. In the beginning, they had planned to aggressively hype up Han Yisheng by comparing him to whoever became the male lead. When the television series became popular, they could also become popular. It was Lin Che's fault for being arrogant. But now, who still dared to make that comparison? Anyone who compared himself to Gu Jingze would inevitably humiliate himself. The internet was in a state of jubilation too. Everyone was saying, if Gu Jingze is acting in it, it will definitely be great. I've read the original novel. The male lead is so domineering. Only Gu Jingze can pull it off. In comparison to him, Han Yisheng is too feminine. Gu Jingze is better. Precisely, Han Yisheng isn't as good looking as Gu Jingze, either. In terms of acting skills, Han Yisheng can't compare to Gu Jingze at all. The character in the game is incredibly handsome. He carries a heavenly weapon and is incomparably ethereal. He must also have a sharp gaze. Can Han Yisheng do it? Han Yisheng was genuinely going to cry himself dizzy in the washroom. Later on, Lin Yu looked at Gu Jingze. "Where exactly did you go? I nearly died from shock upon your sudden return." Gu Jingze said, "I went out to have fun. Working every day is so frustrating." "Well then, you suddenly ran here after returning without even notifying me in advance. Have you actually decided to act in this?" Gu Jingze had a nonchalant expression on his face. "That's right. I previously heard from my second brother that you were going to produce a game, so I went to try it out. I felt that it was quite good, so I wanted to act in this." "Ah, you even played our game? Hehe." Lin Che smiled even more brightly and asked, "Is it really fun?" It's really not bad. How did you come up with this clever idea for the game?" Gu Jingze tapped Lin Che on her forehead. Lin Che said, "I did it just to earn money." "Well then, I'll give you the contract later. This is the script, you can take a look at it." Chapter 1198. Let's set off rent against your remuneration. Gu Jingze said, "Sure. But I don't have a place to live in at the moment. I may have to stay in your house for the time being." Lin Che asked, "Why don't you have a place to stay?" Gu Jingze said, I went traveling of my own accord and my family cancelled all my credit cards. Didn't you know? Alright, how rebellious. Yu Minmin came in from behind them and was slightly astonished to see Gu Jingze. So what had happened earlier was real. Gu Jingze was really here. Lin Che said to Yu Minmin, get the contract ready for him to peruse. Let's discuss how we should go about the filming process. Yu Minmin let out a sound of affirmation and quickly went to prepare. It was only after going out that she pulled Lin Che towards her and asked, is he really going to film this? Of course, Lin Che continued, he agreed. And he even said that he wouldn't go back on his word. Yu Minmin said, good gracious, we're going to get a windfall this time. Lin Che said, he hasn't even looked at the script. We shouldn't wait for problems to crop up later. And I really can't get used to this sudden situation at the moment. Ha ha ha, what can't you get used to? Just wait to go back and count your money. This won't do. I must get in touch with the broadcast stations. Who wants to buy our series? They will only get it if they pay twice the price. Gu Jingze was a moving billboard. Did they still need to advertise? Yu Minmin was bursting with joy. She quickly went to make arrangements for publicity first. Gu Jingze's sudden joining meant that they had to immediately make changes to their advertising methods too. To begin with, their initial methods had been slightly lackluster. Now that Gu Jingze was here, they had to make this series even grander so that it was worthy of Gu Jingze's status. Lin Che brought Gu Jingze home with her. Back home, Gu Jingze saw the people outside the moment he stepped in. Hey, are these your guys? He was asking about Dongzi and the rest. Lin Che said, ah, yes. Right now, apart from those who had been with her since the past, the number of people she had was still increasing from time to time. As she had not started with a lot of personal guards, Gu Jingze subsequently added a few more for her. Gu Jingze said, I can't believe second brother even prepared a personal army for you. Not bad, not bad. These people are very capable. Not many people in the Gu family have personal guards. Ah, how could you tell at one glance that they were my guards and not Gu Jingze's? Lin Che asked. Gu Jingze said, of course I know second brother's subordinates. It's just those few people over and over again. He doesn't really replace them. I asked you because I saw that these faces looked unfamiliar. Sure enough, second brother is extremely doting on you. Why are you back? Just then, Gu Jingze came out and asked. Gu Jingze smiled. It's because I came back and had no place to stay. So I'm here to live off you for a few days. Lin Che said, precisely. Why were his things confiscated? He just came today. Didn't you see him appear at our press conference? He said he was going to act in our television series. The reporters immediately went crazy, you know. Gu Jingze said, good lord. Those reporters were making a fuss about nothing. Gu Jingze said, it's because he refused to listen and ran all over the place. He scoffed and walked down. You want to stay here? Gu Jingze said, can I? I don't have money to stay anywhere else. Oh, have you signed the contract with Lin Che? Not yet. How much remuneration are you going to ask for? Well, just give whatever amount is suitable. We're family, so there's no need for such useless discussion. My usual price is enough. What was his usual price? She did not know either. Gu Jingze said, in that case, leave. What? Lin Che and Gu Jingze looked in Gu Jingze's direction together. Gu Jingze said, why don't we just use your pay for the rent? Then I'll get someone to tidy up a room for you. Hey, you're way too underhanded. Is your house gilded with gold? Why is it so expensive? Gu Jingze protested. Gu Jingze said, if not, I can also tell the family that you're staying with me. It was obvious that Gu Jingze did not want them to know. So, he rolled his eyes and said unhappily, fine. My remuneration will be for rent in that case. You can give me a bigger room, right? You can choose any room upstairs. Gu Jingze smiled faintly. Gu Jingze scoffed. How sly. Lin Che was stunned. She looked at Gu Jingze. Wow, can we do that? His remuneration is probably very expensive. Gu Jingze patted her on the back and looked at her. This is the way to do business. You must take stock of the situation. Every cent you have must be put to good use. Save whatever you can. Still, there was no need to be this frugal. Gu Jingze was seriously devious. But Lin Che liked it. Hee. Gu Jingyu stayed here for the night. He went to visit the two children. Gu Xinian was doing his homework. At the side, Xiuan was sitting on the floor randomly playing, leaning against a cushion, and happily looking at the item in his hand. Gu Jingyu said, "Dear me. Your children are already so big. It's a pity that they look like second brother. I hope they're not as evil as second brother." Lin Che said, "It's all because you offended your family. That's why he has a hold over you. By the way, why did you fall out with your family?" "It's all because they insisted that I marry this woman. I refused, so I ran away." "No way. Was the woman that terrible?" "She wasn't terrible. I just didn't want to get married yet." "I guess. In that case, when are you planning to get married?" A good woman is hard to come by. I don't want to get married at the moment. Not every man is as lucky as second brother, to be able to meet someone he likes so quickly." He smiled and glanced at Lin Che. Lin Che scoffed. "Your flattery is quite effective." To begin with, he was the only one among the children of the Gu family who had yet to settle down. They did, indeed, feel more anxious because of this. In the morning, Lin Che and Gu Jingyu headed to the film site together. Initially, Yu Minmin had been drafting the contract. She discussed with Lin Che how much they were going to pay Gu Jingyu, or whether they were going to simply give him part of the profits. Lin Che said, "No need." Why? Did he say that he doesn't want it?" "No, he's staying at my house. Gu Jingze told him to use his remuneration as rent." "What the hell, is your rent that expensive?" "But I've never known how much exactly his remuneration is. I asked around yesterday. They said that he has only been filming movies for the past few years. His remuneration per movie is 20 million and part of the box office profits. In total, he took home 240 million from his most recent movie." "What the hell, 100 of millions?" "That's right. In that case his remuneration for a television series would probably be quite significant too." Lin Che's lip corner twitched briefly. She did feel that rent for their house was too expensive. Yu Minmin said, not bad. The guru in your family is so evil." Lin Che said, I didn't know either. Why don't I give him a symbolic sum, a bit of remuneration, but I still won't be able to afford too much." After discussing it for a long time, the two of them nevertheless decided to give him a bit of remuneration as a show of appreciation. Later on, hearing that Gu Jingyu had returned, Mu Feiran especially went to visit him on set. This was because she and Gu Jingyu were old friends who had collaborated many times, but they had not met for a few years thereafter. Chapter 1199 They met your boyfriend. Gu Jingyu, I can't believe you came back. I thought you wouldn't return after running away, Mu Feiran smiled and said. Gu Jingyu looked at Mu Feiran. Why, you can come back but I can't. I came back because I have to make a living. As for you, you have both wealth and money. You don't have to act if you don't want to. Forget it, I'm the pauper right now. I have to live in someone else's house in order to at least fill my stomach. Others could not join the conversation between the two of them when they started teasing each other. They smiled and watched both of them, the heavenly king and queen of old, finally standing together today. They had previously led an era. But now, the rookie actress Lin Che, who had looked up to them back then, was already starting to lead another era. While everyone was still sighing in awe, Mu Feiran and the others had already finished exchanging greetings. Mu Feiran said to Lin Che, with Gu Jingyu's participation, this television series of yours will definitely blow up in popularity. Lin Che said, there are other things to consider. It's fine as long as they don't criticize us for letting down Gu Jingyu and putting their Gu Jingyu to waste. Lin Che too had some similar concerns. Just then, Mu Feiran called. She quickly picked up the call. It's from my family. Recently, your family has been contacting you quite frequently, Lin Che said. When the subject came up, Mu Feiren did not wish to say anything further. She smiled faintly before leaving. In Mu Feiren's home, her mother and younger brother had arrived together. From outside, they looked inside the courtyard. Seeing as no one seemed to be around, the two of them simply jumped over the fence and into the premises. I don't think older sister is around. Do you see a random man inside? I don't see that. Are there any men's clothing? Hey, look, mother. Is that a man's clothing hanging at the side? The black jacket, it must be. Oh no, it looks like older sister really has a man. I can't believe this little wench. I told her a long time ago to be more careful. She must have fallen into someone's trap. While speaking, they saw someone walk in from outside. He did indeed look like a hooligan. His skin was fair and soft and he wasn't that old either. The person who had come in was actually Blackhawk's subordinate. He walked over to them with well-practiced ease. He went in to pick up his clothes before opening the door to leave. He did not at all notice if anyone was here. Mu Feiren's mother immediately cried out in alarm, "Good lord, is it that person earlier? This Feiren is way too unbecoming." Thereafter, Mu Feiren's mother hastily gave her a call. She told Mu Feiren to make a quick trip home when she was available. Mu Feiren returned home and saw that her mother and younger brother were both here. However, at the same time, there was also a young man on the side. The man's eyes instantly lit up when he saw Mu Feiren. Mu Feiren's mother said, "Feiren, you're here just in time. We have a guest here. Let's eat at home in a bit. I'll get someone to prepare some food." They also had a housekeeper to help cook and clean at home. Usually, Mu Feiren's mother only liked going out to play mahjong and did not like doing household chores. Mu Feiren froze where she was. She thought of the Benz Mercedes she had seen outside earlier. So it was his car. Hey, mother, say it clearly, what are we doing right now? Mu Feiren's mother asked. Now didn't I say it already? We have a guest here. Keep him company first. The man looked at Mu Feiren. The only thought in his mind was that she looked so much better in real life than on television. Although she was already very beautiful on television, she did not even look 1/10 as beautiful as she did in person. Sure enough, she looked even more ethereal in person. Mother, why should I keep him company? I don't even know him. Mu Feiren nudged her mother. Mu Feiren said, "Oh, this is Mr. Chen. Mr. Chen how?" Mu Feiren's mother pulled Mu Feiren towards her and said in a low voice, "His family runs a company. He's very wealthy. He's known as one of the 4 princes of the capital city. Everyone knows who he is." "What 4 princes of the capital city?" Mu Feiren said, "I'm not asking who he is. I'm..." Alright, you guys have a chat first. I'll go and prepare the dishes." Mu Feiren's mother did not continue talking nonsense with her. She brushed her off directly and went into the kitchen first. Chen Hao looked at Mu Feiren. "Good gracious, Miss Feiren. You look even more beautiful than you do on television." Mu Feiren looked at him and smiled dryly. "My apologies. I'm still a bit busy. I'll just..." "Hey, Miss Feiren, I'm a fan of your works." Mu Feiren really disliked such a preamble. "Oh, really? Thank you for your support." "Hey, Miss Feiren, since you're here, why don't we sit down for a chat?" "But I'm really very busy." "Don't be like this, Miss Feiren, I'm sure you understand your mother's intentions. But old people are all like that. Let's just do this as a show of respect to them. I was dragged here by my father too. But wouldn't it be quite bad if we just went back straight too? They would be angry. It's better for us to just sit down and talk. Anyway, we're doing it over a meal. It won't be much trouble. The result will be the same if we're not interested and don't contact each other afterward." Hearing him speak so politely, it was not appropriate for Mu Feiren to reach out and slap a smiling face. Thus, she followed suit and sat down. He stared at Mu Feiren, finding it hard to believe that the beauty he used to watch so closely on television was right in front of him now. He had heard that these celebrities and entertainers were no different from prostitutes. It was only after getting famous that they wanted to leave the trade and simply find a wealthy person to marry and live a good life with. Of course, he did not want a wife like that. But after hearing that it was her, he nevertheless wanted to meet her. Anyway, hooking up with her did not mean that they were actually going to marry. I heard that you even have a child. Yes, Mu Feiren leaned backward and answered noncommittally. She could not be bothered to reply. He said, to be honest, I quite like children. Next time, you can bring your kid with you. There's no need. By the way, my family's restaurant is opening soon. You can pop by and look around. Here, he took out a name card and gave it to her with both hands. Mu Feiren took it from him and saw that it was a restaurant. It seemed to be a seafood restaurant. I see. I'll come by when I'm free. You can come for the opening. We've invited numerous top names in the business. No thank you. Mu Feiren got up to leave. Mu Feiren's mother rushed out to stop her. Feiren, don't be like this. You. Enough, mother. I told you that I already have a boyfriend. Can you stop doing this? Chen Hao stood up immediately as well. You're in a relationship. Mu Feiren's mother turned red and purple. Slightly embarrassed, she said, no, she's been scammed. That's why I'm trying to pull her back to the right path. It's true that there's this man. But he's a con man, he's trying to cheat her of her money. What con man? Have you ever met him? How can you call him a con man? Of course, how could I not have seen him? Chapter 1200 Let him come over. Mu Feiren looked at her mother in puzzlement. When did you meet him? Well, I did meet him. You went to my house. Mu Feiren got annoyed at the possibility that her mother went to cause a scene with Black Eagle. Mother Mu looked around and knew that she could not hide it any longer. She grunted and said, just look at what kind of taste you have in men. Why did you choose that guy? I told you that you'd get cheated and you still refused to believe me. You two are not compatible at all. You have different statuses. Furthermore, how can he ever hold a candle to you? HMPH. He should take a look at himself before he dares to touch you. On the other hand, you're so stupid. Of course, you'd fall into his trap. Mu Feiren was puzzled. Was she talking about Black Eagle? But it felt like Black Eagle probably wouldn't be so hateful. But she could not be sure either. She thought that Black Eagle was an arrogant person. Perhaps he did say something to upset her mother. Mu Feiren said, since you've already met him, what else do I have to say? I can save the introduction now. HMPH. Bring him over. Let him come over. I want to see if he has the audacity to come over. Mother Mu said. Mu Feiren said, and what are you going to do if he comes here? If he doesn't even have the guts to come and meet me, then he can forget about being your boyfriend. You said that you're not getting cheated, so prove it. Let me tell you, he wouldn't last a minute here. I'll give him hell and make him so embarrassed that he can't face people. If he dared to come over, she would definitely make his ears bleed. This sugar baby wanted to leech on and cheat her daughter. Mu Feiren looked at her mother. She knew that she could not hide her boyfriend from her family forever. Sooner or later, they would have to meet. Since she had already seen him, she could ask Mo Jingyan for his opinion. There was no harm in bringing him here. Mu Feiren said, fine. I can ask if he's willing to. If he is. HMPH. See if he's willing to. Of course, he wouldn't. Mother Mu immediately interrupted her. Mu Feiren could not be bothered. She took out her phone and walked outside. She dialed Mo Jingyan's number and very soon, he answered her call. Feiren, what's up? Mu Feiren said, Jingyan, my family said that they know about my boyfriend. Oh, okay, why, do you still want to hide from them? Of course not, but now they want to meet you. I was wondering if you want to meet them. Mo Jingyan said, oh my, meeting my in-laws so soon. Really, I haven't prepared any gifts. He agreed happily. No, my family Jingyan, I'll be honest with you. They kinda disapprove of our relationship, so I'm worried that they might make things difficult for you. Matters like this were better said in advance. Mo Jingyan heard this and chuckled. Disapprove? He said, I see, all right. It's understandable that they disapprove of us. After all, you are their precious daughter and you're important to them. It is natural that they have high expectations for your boyfriend. All right, I'm coming over now. Wait there. Mu Feiren heard this and was a little panicked. He said, hang up. Wait for me. Mu Feiren then hung up. Mo Jingyan had this one gentlemanly move that nobody would ever think he would have. He always waited for the other person to hang up before he did himself. It was like this every single time and it seemed very thoughtful of him. Mu Feiren hung up. When she went back inside the house, she heard her mother say to Chen Hao, "We've seen him. He's a sugar baby, seriously, she's getting cheated and she doesn't even realize it. You'll see once he comes here. If he has the cheek to say that he is Feiren's boyfriend, his skin would really be as thick as a wall." Mu Feiren was puzzled. Why would she think that Black Eagle was like that? And he was a sugar baby? He didn't look like a sugar baby. He was sweet, but he definitely wasn't a baby. After waiting for about half an hour, Mo Jingyan was here. The car stopped outside. People walked in carrying gifts. At first glance, it was just a box of wine. But upon closer look, it looked like those famous Martell bottles that could cost thousands of yuan. The people who came in were those lads who usually followed Black Eagle. The one leading the way was regularly seen. He saw Mu Feiren and greeted, "Hello, lady boss." Then, he went straight in. The people behind were still carrying more wine. This one was another type of red wine, but it also looked very expensive. These people. Inside, Mother Mu immediately saw that boy walk in. With one look, she recognized the man that she had seen with her family earlier. "Hey, that's him," she exclaimed. However, she immediately saw that he was carrying a box of Martell. That wine seemed to cost thousands of yuan per bottle. And there were so many of such bottles. At first, she was a little surprised. Then, she thought that even though these were expensive, he probably used Feiren's money to buy them. She immediately rolled up her sleeves and prepared to lecture him. Unexpectedly, more people filed in from behind. Each one of them carried a box of wine. They all looked like different brands, but they were all top class like Martell. Oh my, this was. Mother Mu was confused now. All the way at the end, a man in a leather coat stepped in. Standing tall, he seemed to eclipse everyone around him. He saw Mu Feiren first and smiled. He walked to her like a breeze. "Feiren, I'm here." Mu Feiren pointed in shock at the situation inside. "Those things. Oh, it's my first visit, so I must bring some gifts, right? I asked around and was told that most people bring wine and cigarettes." "Yes, you could give wine but nobody told you to buy the entire liquor store." Mu Feiren thought that the next time these people give him ideas, they should talk about the quantity first. Otherwise, he couldn't always do this. There were so many boxes going back and forth. Her living room was already filled. Just then, Mother Mu already came out in shock. She stared at this man who was like a ray of sunlight. He stood there with a domineering look as if he really had an indomitable spirit. She didn't even dare to blink. "Who was this?" "Feiren, this is." Mu Feiren replied, "This is the boyfriend I was talking about." Hey, he was not the one she met. Mother Mu pointed at that boy just now, and he. Oh, that's his subordinate. Mother Mu cried internally. She got it wrong. This man standing in front of her now looked dignified and had a different aura. It was just that she did not know what he did for a living. Just then, Chen Hao also emerged with surprise.